hell's... I got more people working out these days. Awesome. Nice day for it. Alright, it's a nice temperature for it. The air's still garbage. What's going on, man? I got people running and walking this neighborhood now. I have now developed an awesome problem. Fly to the football. What does that mean? It means you see a loose ball, man, you scramble to get to it. You see someone carrying the ball, you scramble to get to it. It means you get to that ball with all deliberate speed. I need to stop watching Last Chance U. It depresses me every time. I think the guys, when they're in that documentary, and they say their only goal is to get to the NFL, I can just kind of hear that quiver in their voice. They don't even believe it. But it's the principle of aim high. Aim high and hit something. But like for a guy like me, I really can't relate to a lot of those guys on that show. I was a student athlete, but I was a student athlete that had no problem studying. I didn't have near the problems or distractions they got. So like, it's different than college. I was like, no, it isn't. Not in junior college. I mean, the first 2 semesters of what they were, the first 2 years of what they were taking. A basic composition class, and it was like college algebra. But you know what? They were taking like algebra 2, and those guys probably barely got out of high school with geometry. This dude's gone almost full caveman. No shirt, no shoes, no problem. But it was an interesting dilemma. It's like, you got the NFL now where it's almost like a legacy fraternity club. The dudes that are in there, their families were scouted and taken care of and came from high class. And they had those kids plugged in since they were 14. They were going to go to the Division I schools. They were going to go to Division I schools, try to get through their 4 years, and then get picked up by an NFL team. It's just a given. What the fuck was that all about? He went out and did the median, came back, looped up, and the kid just made a right turn. Whatever. But gone are the days where you're going to find this little secret fruit in black colleges and small-time colleges. And what's more messed up about that was I was looking at it, and these dudes weren't getting full rides to the JUCO. They were getting, it was like they were going to ride and play football. They were running through there, get them an associate's degree. They wasn't going to do nothing with. And then they took on student debt while they were there. There's a lot of assholes out here today. It's almost getting to the point of if you're not in Division 1 or 2A, you don't exist. They had to give everybody that beautiful pathos. Like I said, a lot of those guys on that team were probably like I was. I wasn't in college football, but it was just one of those deals where they're going to college, they're making the grade, they're playing football, maybe they'll play in the bigger divisions, and they make no noise or no waves. They come from like a working class, middle class background. Their biggest drama is maybe they didn't have 20 bucks to put together to do laundry or something. He's like, I don't have my money, Ma. We'll send you something. Come pick up something. Yeah. They did try to play a little bit of a racist angle in Independence, Kansas, trying to say that, they didn't really like the fact that they were getting all these inner city kids coming in there. And they had to pay $600,000 for a practice field and all that stuff. At the end of the day, though, it wasn't a race thing. It was a money thing. It was a money thing and an unrealistic expectation thing. These folks have been living in Independence, Kansas for 3 generations, 4 generations. They're talking about their local kids, and I was like, them kids ain't sticking around. Your kids will leave no matter what happens. They could be walk-ons on the team. They're leaving Independence, Kansas. They ain't coming back. They keep thinking that the town's going to stay alive, and it just keep dying. Last Chance U was probably the only thing that kept that. That's the only way anyone's ever going to know about Independence, Kansas. And now they don't have that anymore. So they'll go back to being an irrelevant football team in an irrelevant city, town. That'll just fade out in flyover country. But that president, man, he was slime. That dude, everything about him just kind of oozed. Everything about him just oozed money. His overpriced glasses, his overpriced suits, his overpriced haircut. I have no idea why that dude was even in Independence, Kansas. I was even looking at that coach. He sold his house and they put the listing up there, and that was a pretty good sized house. It was over 2,000 square feet. He had the listing for 133. You couldn't even get a 1-bedroom 1940s or 50s built project starter house in this city for 133. Believe me, I've tried. shoot, for $250,000, you can get a mansion in Independence, Kansas. Now, small town America's dead. Small town America is old and gray and forgotten and withered, on life support, and it's brain dead. And no matter how many presidential candidates or whatever government officials say they could keep small town America alive, they can't. Just can't. Not in the face of corporate farms and big box stores and online stores. Something to think about. Algorithms are replacing small town America. I don't quite know what the future's looking like, but I know it'll involve less people. No, these idiots that are doing the construction, they just seem to like to put the signs in the middle of the sidewalk where everybody got to walk. And again, maybe from their viewpoint, no, nobody walks down these sidewalks. Once again, it sucks to be nobody. Yeah, I don't know what was going on down the street there. Maybe that was just a fluke. Maybe there was that one family walking down, running. One dude was jogging, lady was walking, then this other lady came by, she was jogging. A couple other people going up and down, and I was like, okay. Might have had something to do with the fact that it dropped below 90 degrees today. It's supposed to get down to 62. Anyway, tired. Don't want to be babbling the whole time. Every time I watch Last Chance U, I keep thinking, no. It's the documentary of bad. It's a documentary of bad and unrealistic expectations. Or decisions. Bad and unrealistic decisions. It's like, dang. One dude, they gave him probation, and I know what happened there. He took a plea deal. I knew it was a plea deal because they had the family sitting there reading statements to him. I was like, why did he take the plea deal? He wasn't the murderer. They gave him like a manslaughter, involuntary manslaughter type charge. But it's a felony It's on his record. Which ironically doesn't mean as much as it used to. Right now, if I believe the news media. Right now, a lot of felons are, they're making it easy for them to get employment. Some states have banned the box. Some cities and states have banned the box laws on the books. Employers can no longer ask you, hey, did you get convicted of something? The military's kind of taking some too. This is no way, well. Looking at that family, they're probably a poor family. They couldn't afford a good lawyer. Nobody can afford a good lawyer. Middle class people, good lawyers are the purview of people who make over $100,000. So they had to whip up $5 grand just to get a pretty good lawyer who would have took it to trial by jury. I don't think the prosecutors had much of a case. He was guilty of harboring morons. They killed that boy. But so he took the plea bill, got that on his record. He's done. He is literally, he was literally convicted of guilt by association. Not something he did, but some people he hung out with. I guess it's like the hood. The hood is radioactive. The hood contaminates everything. I keep thinking I'm in great shape, but I think the reality is I'm just I don't run that fast. I mean, there are a lot of assholes out here. The other thing that was sad about Last Chance U is all those guys are beat up. You know, the trainer, she's trying her best, but she's just one trainer. Trying to patch those guys just enough to where she can get them to play on game day. Some of them had multiple concussions and they knew how to fake their way through the test. A lot of them had joint problems because their joints had just been worn out from all those years of playing football. Yeah, so I've been playing since I was 3 years old. And at that point, it's like 14 years, 20 years of these guys getting hit in the head, hitting the knees, hitting the shoulders. Like I'm thinking about South Lake. Think about South Lake where the Cowboys and their kids lived. Former Dallas Cowboys and their kids lived. These kids probably didn't start playing football till they were 12. And even then it was light on the contact. They've been taking supplements, they've been doing the right training regimens. Their parents take the injuries very seriously. They know their kids are going to get to the NFL. It's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when. They've had the colleges looking at them since they were 14. And there are now hundreds of these kids. Hundreds of these kids that will already be filling rosters at Division I schools. Then you get the ones that they were studs in college, and their kids have started playing. And there are tens of thousands of them. Then you get the kid that came from the inner city. He was the top of the cream of the crop of the inner city schools. Hadn't taken the supplements, had injuries, but played through the injuries. Didn't get them treated properly. School wasn't a big deal. They never learned how to do the how to properly test that in standardized tests. And he's sitting there trying to get that one spot, and he screws up because he has no idea about the protocols of being a student athlete in Division 1A. In other words, he hasn't had any of the advantages or experience. And that's the way it's getting now. It's just, you got the NFL legacy kids, and then you've got the college legacy kids. And those are the ones that are filling all the rosters in the top levels of amateur sports and professional sports. Gone are the days where the guy goes from rags to riches. I mean, he'd have to be an exceptional athlete, and even then, he's still not. No, because of so much scrutiny in the media. Guys like Lawrence Phillips can't get through the ranks anymore. Colleges don't want to touch him. They're scared. It's like, this dude's already got a record. He came from this background. They might start doing Wonderlic tests on the college football level. Find out, hey, this guy's mentally unstable. I can't afford to have him in my program. When are UTDs ever going to have football? I laugh, but it could happen one day. I could be sitting there and they're just like, yeah, they wanted to make more money, so they added football. Man, you talking about, the only reason I think they can't do that is because SMU would protest, UNT would protest, Baylor, TCU. They already feed out of Dallas, and it's just like that one more. You add one more football team. The cool thing though is it would be Dallas's version of like the Miami, the U. All those people coming out of West and South and East Dallas and locals. They start feeding into that school, and they'd be a powerhouse. Start them out in Conference USA or whatever that little school, whatever one SMU and everybody else plays in. I can't say it'll never happen because Caltech has a football team. MIT, is MIT? No, MIT doesn't have a football team. But there are a lot of technical schools that have football teams. Yeah, my gripe against UTD is that place was crowded. I wonder how Richland is probably crowded now. Like, I started seeing things at Richland that kind of got me dismayed. I'd be coming out of the classes late, sometimes working out late, and then I'd look over, and the parking lot still had a bunch of people in there. And the teacher was telling me, yeah, these guys are sleeping in their cars. I was like, what? He's like, yeah, they can barely pay their tuition. They were sleeping in their cars. That was a crazy thing, man. I'd go to class, and after a certain point, You could not find anywhere to park. They had people parking on the grass, getting tickets, but they still parked on the grass. That's when I started knowing what I had to do, which is I'd park clean over in another spot. Like there was always parking spots wherever the liberal arts buildings were. And then I'd walk off halfway across the campus to get to the engineering sections. That was kind of the secret of UTD. I'd go park way over in the A lot and then walk through the Eric Johnson building. Here I was, I had a gold pass. I had an orange pass. I paid top dollar. I said, yeah, I can afford to. I said, let me spoil myself. When I would spoil myself, all the orange spots taken up. I had the one pass that allowed me to park anywhere, and I couldn't park anywhere. So for all the good it did me, I had an orange pass. I was parking over in the loose gravel in the A lot. At first there was no parking spots, and then there was just, it was cool because I could park way out there and there'd be nobody there. And then toward the end of it, more people started parking out there. I'd be way out there by myself, nobody around me. And then there'd be this one or two assholes parking right next to me. And I'm like, why are you parking next to me? I was like, there's 1,000 places you can be. It's a weird phenomenon. Saw that Euro trip, I got a kick out of it, where the guy was sitting on a train by himself and the dude was sitting in another part of the train, and the guy just kept creeping closer and closer to the dude until they went through a dark tunnel and the dude was right on top of him. There are people who just do not want you to be by yourself. They only see the world from the inside of their own skull, and so they're like, that guy must be lonely. He must need someone to talk to. It's like, no, that guy is okay by himself. If you wanted company, he'd come sit next to you. You don't need to sit next to him. Sometimes I thought maybe it was a strength in numbers thing. I figured if I was there and they were there, campus police wouldn't give them a hard time. And I used to see the parking lady. She had nothing but time. She'd go out there, and that was the thing. I was parking right next to the police department. Always waved at the guy, he waved back. I'd walk around the campus, they'd wave at me while I was walking around the campus. That never made any sense to me, to UTD, the north part of the campus. There was no sidewalk. There was bus lanes there and bus stops, but no sidewalks. I was like, what kind of stupid mess is this? That's Dallas. Right as I was leaving, they were putting student housing up there. I don't know what it looks like now. I just know that I couldn't go back to school even if I wanted to. I was paying $3,000 for 2 classes per semester. Almost 4 grand actually. And there'll probably be people who are nostalgic about that now. I was like, well, how much is it now? 6? It's like, damn. A full load will cost you 10 grand per semester. That's probably how much they got it up to now. Where I was going to community college and I was taking 2 classes a semester, and that would cost me like $273 a semester. And then I'd probably pay more for books than I was for the tuition. Now I keep hearing stories. It's like, you go to the community college now, you're paying whatever they were paying for out-of-state tuition, you're paying that for the in-state. The out-of-state people were paying like 2-3 grand. That's probably what the in-state people folks are paying now for community college. When I was looking at the media and they're talking about they said most people don't have enough money in their budget to pay for a $500 emergency. And I haven't seen a $500 emergency. There's no such thing in my book. It's like every emergency I've seen, it's $1,000 easy. Need something fixed in your car, that's gonna be $1,000. You got sick, that's gonna be $1,000. Something happened to your house, that's gonna be $1,000. Something's going on with your rent, that's at least $1,000. We aren't. I don't know where the news view is getting this stuff from. $500? No, everything costs $1,000 easy, right off the bat. It just says it without batting an eye. It's gonna be $1,000 for this. At least that's how it is in Dallas. I kept trying to get solar panels, and the guy was like, to cover your whole house, it's going to cost this much. How much will this much cost me? No one would ever want to dip below 20 grand. I was like, well, what's the secret? Just go into debt. Either that, everybody's going to start leasing things for fees. I mean, for subscription plans. That might be how college is going in the future. You won't pay your tuition. You'll just, well, no, they'll keep doing the student loan thing. Folks stacking up 6 figures to pay for an education. Pay for an education that'll barely give them a salary of $40,000. Like, I almost feel sorry for those people going to medical school. Because they're going to start, like I said, they're going to start accruing $250,000 to $500,000 debts. And then doctor salaries are going to start going down. Because of algorithms. Accounting jobs are being phased out because computers can do it. Paralegal jobs are being phased out because computers can do it. All these people that went out and got like business degrees and I guess I'd tell somebody now is like, if you want a job that you know, for the future, get something in statistics or get something in data analytics, because that's where everything's heading. Like, they're gonna have 1 or 2 guys that sit there and tweak the algorithm, study the algorithm, and then everything else is automated. Ten years. That was funny. I was joking. I was telling everybody, yeah, you can go get your degree in actuarial science. I was looking at that. That was looked like a smart board. Running some form or some version of Citrix. Anyway, keep telling people to get a degree in. You can't get a degree in, it's a certification in actuarial science. And I remember talking to, his name was Professor Barron. Professor Barron, with his eyes beamed, and he had that lady come in there, and she was like, "Oh yeah, everybody wants to sign up for this." And I would have signed up for it, except that I'm already struggling to pay for my computer science classes. Once I'm done with that, maybe I'll go into actuarial science. That's probably what I'd be doing. Because there was a shortage of them back then, and now I don't know. They're just still. It'll fill up with Indian and Chinese students, and then after that, it won't be a problem anymore. In fact, I'm trying to figure out why they don't outsource that. There'll be very little that you can do in the United States because everything will be covered by automation. You don't need giant factories and machine shops anymore. You got 3D printers that'll do all that. Little specialty shops. Hey, I need a part for the such and such, such and such, and the guy will just print one out. Bzz. Cost you a fortune, but I was thinking about how I wanted to shop for groceries. I do all that on Amazon. Because the Walmart that I live next to never has what I'm looking for. I'm still trying to figure out why the Sam's Club used to have big giant cases of peanut butter and they got rid of it. I was like, do the people in my neighborhood not eat peanut butter? Like, okay. They're trying to cater to the people in my neighborhood, man. Them people are sorry. Stuff they eat. You know, if it's bags of chips, or if it's junk food, they'll stock it in bulk. If it's anything healthy or common sense, they don't keep it in stock. So then I go up a little, if I go down this street and I go over to Midway, or where I was just in Midway, but if I keep going down that way, you got the Central Market. But I got three problems with this Central Market: the hours, the the way the layout is, it's you're pushing that shopping cart around, and I guess they really don't want you to push your shopping cart around. Like they look like they tried to pack too much into that store, so it's tight in there. And that stuff is expensive. No, I'm just kind of an oddball when it comes to shopping. I thought it was just me, but then I was talking to one of my buddies at work, and he's telling me he's looking for a recliner, and apparently they don't make recliners for people over 6 feet tall. I was like, okay. But then I was thinking that the recliner in general is kind of falling out of vogue. You know, it's just people don't get recliners. My mom tried to tell me that we were talking about beds. I said I want a full-size bed. All they have is queens. Now, she went to brick and mortar stores, and that's all they had. I was like, okay. You can't find full-size beds. You can't find recliners for people over 6 feet tall. The guy was telling me you can't find. I was telling him I wanted a station wagon. Nobody buys station wagons. I tell people I want a micro truck. Nobody sells micro trucks, or nobody buys micro trucks. I'm like, okay. I'm looking for kale chips in bulk. We only sell them in single bags. I'm looking for a laptop that I can run Linux on. We only sell Windows. I'm looking for a polyester shirt and pant combo in this cut. We only sell it in that because of the fashions. I'm looking for this kind of sock. We don't have that kind of sock. I'm looking for this kind of shoe. We don't make that shoe anymore. I got people selling stuff that are trying to tell me what I want, and I know what I fucking want. And so my answer to that is just not to buy anything. Whereas everyone else, I get the sneaking suspicion there are a lot of people buying stuff but not getting what they really want or need even. I thought it was just me, and then I'm looking at Scott Adams talking about the confusopoly. He said he wanted a truck, he wanted to have this certain feature. They said they don't make that kind of engine anymore. The guy at the lot told him they had it. He went down there, they didn't have it. He said that because he was Scott Adams, that was the reason that he was able to get what he wanted. Had he not been Scott Adams, he would have wound up settling for something, you know, something inadequate to his needs. And he dubbed that the whole thing the confusopoly, where you get so frustrated after a while that you just take whatever they give you, because they purposely keep things out of stock, or they purposely make things a certain way. Like nobody sells micro trucks because they're fuel efficient, they don't use a lot of steel, can't charge a lot of money for them. Like it's getting to the point where you can't find a car for $10,000 anymore. $15,000. You can't find a car for under 20. You just didn't look in the right places. I shouldn't have to look in the right place. I'm not that guy. I'm not that guy who's going to sit there and run around every single stupid little flea market bazaar trying to save a buck, and at the end you go on this holy quest for low prices and you wind up getting what you pay for. It would have just been easier for you to buy it in the first place. You're trying to save a buck, so you burn a lot of gas, you burn a lot of time and energy and frustration, and at the end of the day get something substandard and cheap, and it falls apart in a few months, or it tastes funny. Like my car is obsolete. they won't be making cars in the future. Or they're starting to phase out cars. Everybody's, you know, they're trying to vector everybody into getting SUVs. You don't want the big hulking SUV? That's okay. We've got tiny SUVs now. And they're going back to like the 1930s designs. You know, calling a 1930s body version of a Suburban a car. You want a certain type of house? We don't make that kind of house. You want to live in a condo? It's going to be a $500 HOA fee, and that's the cheap ones. You want a townhome? That's okay. We got co-ops and HOAs that you got to deal with. You want that kind of house? You want that kind of house? You're gonna go out in the country. You go out in the country, you got to pay this much for property tax. We just built a brand new high school out here that you don't have any kids, so they'll never go here. And we decided we wanted to have a big turf stadium for them. Yeah, I know. I started this whole thing talking about unrealistic expectations of people in small town America. Becoming a victim myself of unrealistic expectations, and nothing staying cheap, and then the stuff that ain't staying cheap isn't what you really want or need. There might be a revolution where people start going into co-op shops, and people start building their own cars. That could be a thing. Build 3D print a bunch of parts, slap them together. Your car might not even require any bolts; it just snaps together, and you build little kit cars. And then the state will say, or the automakers will get the state to come up with some kind of rule that says all these kit cars are unsafe for driving. We're going to put a rule that says they aren't street legal anymore. If you already got a street car, that's okay, but for the new street cars, they don't meet these requirements. And the requirements will be written by the automakers. And then automakers might get some pushback, so they'll start coming out with their own version of kit cars. Well, our kit cars are street legal, whereas theirs aren't. We build them for you, and we'll charge you this much to do it. It's going to put a lot of factories out of business. Yep. Now you're getting it. Now you're getting it. Cat or dog? Cat. If it was a dog, it'd been on me by now. What's up, girl? Hey. Cute little short hair. That was pretty fucked up, though. This asshole has to come down the street at this time. It's almost like the game's purposely doing that. So let's see what he does. He walks on the broken sidewalk, damn it, and if he didn't have the light, he probably would have tripped over himself and busted his teeth open. But, what was I getting ready to say? just can't believe that no one has ever thought to sell, or I guess no one can sell because of, you know, Microsoft. No one can sell a laptop with nothing on it. And you know what? I need to do some research tonight and find out if they probably got some print kits. You probably got some 3D kits where you can build yourself a little mold. I don't even think you can get a motherboard sold to you. I mean, in theory, you could build a laptop with a Nook motherboard. They're probably, maybe you can get some prefabricated parts. I don't know. Be an interesting theory, though. You'd have to 3D print all your keys, snap them into the keyboard. Get like your custom. You could probably do it. Get a 3D printer. Make your own little keyboard, put the ribbon cable on it. The ribbon cable that connects to the little pressure pads. But yeah, you might be able to 3D print your own laptop. It's just so sad that you got to do that. You can put whatever you want on it. You can make it a Hackintosh. You can do like me, make your own Linux, you know, Linux. Make a Linux laptop. Maybe you like Google. Maybe you can find a way to Google. Maybe somebody's got a hacked version of Google of the Chrome OS. Put your Chrome OS on there with Android support. What would I put together? Maybe what I would do, it doesn't necessarily have to be a laptop. Laptops, you know, the whole flip lid thing, that's played out. What I could do is I could get a Nook gaming rig, take it out of its case, take the motherboard, put it inside my little prefab case, mix it with a bunch of other things like, you know, USB extenders and everything else, and then snap it into a pre-made like box, and the box has a touchscreen on it. And if I want a keyboard, I could 3D print me a wireless keyboard or a snapping keyboard, whatever you want, and it would just fold over the top of the touchscreen, and I'd have myself a pretty powerful little hybrid tablet. That might be the way to go. They do make touchscreens that you can put in these little things now. That just gives me like a 13-inch touchscreen or a 15-inch touchscreen. Plug it into my specially made Nook tablet. And I'd be playing. And it'd be a I'd make it a steam machine kind of thing. what would you do for the battery? That's where it gets thorny. The battery pack. Like, in order to make your own little portable, semi-portable, whatever, it'd have to look like a 1980s or 1990s laptop. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is you are now living in a market where you're not the guy telling them what you want. They're giving you what they want.